This podcast may contain explicit language and have adult themes and concepts. Parental guidance is suggested. Good morning and welcome to Sidebar with Dana Duncan. I apologize for any delay. This is a new thing or new venture for me, and I'll readily admit that I am not the most tech savvy, but I'm fairly good for a 62-year-old man who hasn't had to try and do this too much. I do thank my son Thomas, who helped me get on and get this set up. So I'm Dana Duncan. This show is going to cover a broad range of subjects from the perspective of a lawyer with more than 37 years of experience in law and life. I'm your host and creator of the show. Each week we're going to try to keep this show within about 30 minutes. Might be a little briefer, might run just a bit longer, but the whole idea of this is it's live. If you want to pop on, you can. The recording will be available. Hopefully we'll be uploading this into other services and through our podcast, through our podcast studio, Ronnie Duncan Studios, where I co-host a podcast, the greatest movie of all time podcast with my son Tom. We've been doing 6 seasons of that, as well as doing a show for my office, my legal office, called Seeking Disability, and those are all available. So the whole idea of this is to give you a brief little thing. For most of us, time is short, and I wanted to do a show that would allow me to discuss various topics and do it within a confined area so that you could pop it on if you wanted to while you're driving to work or driving home from work, or if you have a few minutes or taking a break or for lunch, whatever you want to do. I'm hoping that you will find this of some value. Each show will cover a wide range of subjects. The subjects are going to be ranging from stories from my legal career, advice on interviewing for jobs, discussion of sports and sports topics such as the Major League Baseball labor negotiations, politics in general, foreign policy, movies, television, life in general, advice on being a husband and father, just to name a few of the subjects that I'm planning on doing. The idea is to share a wide range of interests and some knowledge and wisdom that I may have collected in my 37 years as a lawyer, 38 as a husband, and almost 36 as a father. I hope that you do find this of some value. We're going to try to do different subjects each week, so it's not something that's going to be consistently on one subject. So if you find something you like, email the show. It's easy to do. It's sidebar by dwd@gmail.com. That is the email address. If you email me with any suggestions or things that you like, didn't like, etc., I'd appreciate it. Letting me know what's going on, if anybody's listening or not listening, or how it's being done. Again, I would appreciate it. If you have any subjects or things you'd like to hear, or if you'd like to ask me any questions that I could address, I'll be glad to. I will not be giving free legal advice over the show. I can give you opinions on different things. One of the things that I often do or will be doing is I will take a movie with a legal theme and assessing it and telling you where they got it right and where they got it wrong. That's, again, based on this. And I come to this through a wide range of different things. So let me just give you a little brief background about myself so you understand where I'm coming from on this, okay? As I indicated, I've been married for 38 years to my wife, Christine. I've had 3 adult children, Thomas, Allison, and Sarah. And all have had some success in life, and I will be glad to share my ideas or concepts of parenting. One of which is that you basically raise your children and try to make them the best, nurture them so that they can develop and be the best persons or best people they can be. And once you've done that and provided some stability and such, you basically leave them alone and let them make their own mistakes in life. I've swore, and I think they would agree, that I never give one piece of advice to them unless I ask, or unless they specifically ask for it. No matter how often I'd love to just stomp my feet and go, "Hey, what are you doing?" But again, life is a learning lesson, and learning by your own mistakes is one of the key things in life. And if you're not able to do that and do it successfully, especially when you're young, I think parents have spent a lot of time hovering, trying to protect their children. There's a reason, and in the law, there's a thing where you can actually have periods of time when they're under 21, where at least in some states, like such as mine in Wisconsin, you get an expungement of criminal convictions because they understand young people make stupid mistakes and do not need to be marked for life as a result. You try to help them get through that, but that's kind of my philosophy. And I can go through that, and I will probably go through that in much greater detail in another show. I have a bachelor's degree in government from Beloit College, where I'm from, Beloit, Wisconsin, right on the Wisconsin-Illinois border. I grew up there. My background, my father worked as a self-taught electrician for a company in South Beloit. My mother worked for a number of years as an inspector at the Harvard television factory. So I come from a very blue-collar background. My grandparents were farmers. My dad's family all raised and trained cart horses for the racetracks in Illinois. Those are trotters and pacers. They were drivers and trainers and such. So I have a background in that. I am also one credit short of having a degree in economics and management from Beloit College, and one credit short of having had a degree in Russian history from Beloit College. So those are extensive areas of my background and knowledge. I've traveled extensively through the world. I'm planning on doing a show on my impression of spending 10 days in China back in 2015. And I think that is a worthwhile subject to address, especially as we're going through, and China seems to be, if not winning, at least being a major competitor of the world economy. I've hosted 18 exchange students from around the world, so I have cultural knowledge about many nations, been able to travel around Europe, South America, and Asia, and have some perspectives for that. One of the things that I did is I figured out a long time ago that you'll make money as a lawyer and you can live comfortably, but to really build wealth, you need to have assets and opportunities outside of the law. You can utilize your law degree for those purposes to advance and to create things. So I personally went on a journey of approximately a decade of self-improvement and financial development, learned everything I could about how to buy real estate and handle and manage real estate, set up corporations and such. And my wife and I own a property management company where we have assets. I also jointly own another company that holds all my intellectual property and all my licensing and materials I write, which I do some of, and I hope to do more of here in the next couple of years as I start to wind down a bit in my practice on various subjects. I've been working off and on a book on the American-Filipino War from the turn of the 20th century, where we put down insurgencies when we took over the Philippines following the American or Spanish-American War. And I've been working on a article discussing my wife's great uncle who died in the hedgerows of Normandy in June of 1944. trying to trace what happened to him and develop some sort of ability to remember his service to this country and the sacrifice he ultimately made. So those are some of the projects I'm working on. I'm sure I'll be willing to address those in this show as well. I have also in my career handled 150 jury trials. When I first started practicing law, I figured out that getting good at jury trials in criminal defense, because that was what was available as a young lawyer in Beloit, Wisconsin, getting on the public defender's list and doing those type of cases, is learning how to do it, effectively examine and cross-examine witnesses, how to understand court procedures, how to establish the basis for evidence and how it's put into the record. Most of the time you have to be willing to try cases in order to get good offers for plea bargains. So at one point in time, I think I tried something like 23 cases over an 18-month period. I would go to the public defender's office and say, if somebody comes in on Thursday and they have a notice in their hand for a trial the following Monday or Thursday, send it to me, I'll take it. If I can't get an extension, I will try the case. And so there was a lot of that where I spent a lot of time preparing for trials over the weekend type of thing, being willing to put in the time and effort to try to improve my skills and advance as a lawyer. I did a pivot in my career after I kind of got burned out of criminal defense work after about not quite 20 years. Stopped doing it altogether, kind of wound it down, got to a point where I had some very difficult cases at the end and stopped. I changed the focus of my work extensively to Social Security disability and handling appeals in federal court. I have personally argued more than 60 cases in the Court of Appeals. Those include probably more than 50 in the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals in Chicago. And I've done, I think, 7 or 8 in the Fourth Circuit, 2 in the Eighth Circuit. You do not usually do oral arguments in others, but I appear regularly and brief and write briefs and submit them to courts of appeals. I've been in the Ninth Circuit, which is the West Coast, based out of California. I've been in the 10th Circuit, which is based out of Denver and includes the mountain time zone states. I also have been, as I've indicated, the 4th Circuit, which is including West Virginia, Maryland, Virginia, North and South Carolina. The 6th Circuit, which includes Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. I'm admitted to the 11th Circuit now, just in the last month, where that covers Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. So I've had an extensive amount of time in the federal courts. My firm that I started with my wife, one other person, and myself has now grown to about 27 different staff members with four lawyers, one lawyer unlicensed, and 3 non-attorney reps. You do not need to be an attorney to appear in hearings before the Social Security Administration. So we do have non-attorney reps who represent clients under my direction from my law firm. So I have to go about training those people, and I will talk about what the extent was of what I needed to do to learn how to do Social Security, because Social Security is usually learned by one of two things. Either the person is working for the Social Security Administration, or the person is working for a firm that has done Social Security work. I did neither. I self-taught myself the law and became proficient in it as a result of that self-taught, or being self-taught. I have said repeatedly that some of the great things in this country or this world have been created by people dumb enough to not know they shouldn't be doing them. I had no business going into federal court with no background or experience doing it. Nobody guiding me, helping me, telling me what to do, not to do, how to write a brief, how to make it persuasive. I just did it and tried to, and learned by trial and error what worked and what didn't. My first case I took on appeal from the client who I told him in advance I'm going to lose, but I wanted to try it and do it so that I had practice. And he was fine with that. I never billed him for any of the expenses associated with it. We did lose, but, and by the time I had my third case, I won that. So I take pride in that. So I will be talking about that and what it takes to get into federal court, how Social Security works is another subject topic. I've served on my local school board. I started working and served on the Beloit Public School Board while I was still in college, age 20. I was the youngest school board member in the nation at the time, and I think was the youngest one for a long time until somebody else younger, I think, got elected 15 years ago or something to break my streak. I've also served on a village board. I've been a state party officer. I'm not mincing words. I am a Democrat. I am a liberal. And I have an interesting perspective, having come from a very conservative family. My father took great pride until late in life that he was a Barry Goldwater voter. I love my dad very much, but growing up, my dad was Archie Bunker, and somewhere along the line, he kind of moderated himself and became a Democrat and a liberal, and stopped using a lot of the bigoted language that he always had. So I'm hoping that that level of maturity continues on through the generations. So I will also come out and tell you right up front that I am a Christian. I was raised in the church. I became a Wisconsin Synod Lutheran when I married my wife, Christine. I since have had some disagreements with the church and organized religion in large parts because they have become too political instead of religious. It's more about maintaining integrity and following directives of what society will or will not accept, as opposed to expressing the care for the poor, belief in helping and reaching out to strangers, and caring for each other with love and compassion, as opposed to mandating how people should behave. So I've been working through that, and I've struggled with my own beliefs and how I should deal with those, the conflicts I'm having between what I see in the New Testament and what I'm being told it says. As a result, this is a journey that I have been involved in now for some period of time, and I'm really looking forward to doing a show on that and discussing what I'm finding. All right. I also will be talking a lot about experiencing dealing with the young associates in my own office, understanding how things are and how they think and come out of law school. We're talking again today about law school and how difficult it is. I have used this analogy since I graduated. To me, law school is kind of like having a root canal through your anus. It was the most unpleasant, grueling experience I ever had. The stress levels, the demands on time and work were unbearable. The fact that and I'm not going to mince any words about this, Marquette University Law School screwed up my financial aid package. I was told I was going to be getting X. I ended up with X minus a lot. Had enough money to pay my tuition and live for the first semester. I could pay my tuition for the second semester, but did not have any money to live on. Paying rent, eating, paying for gas, etc. So I, against all recommendation, ended up working 25 to 30 hours a week on top of law school, trying to earn enough money to live, even then running out of money, living on things like tuna fish and egg noodles, boiled eggs, anything I could get protein in me with minimal expense and cost was what I applied or did. Luckily, I lost quite a bit of weight, looked pretty good back then. I may have to go through that diet system again at some point in time because it seemed to work well, at least then. I will also indicate that a lot about law and what is going on. For example, one of the analogies I've used is if anybody cross-country skis, when they're setting up a cross-country ski trail, there are places in my home or town, because I'm in the greater Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin area, Wisconsin Rapids, Stevens, or Port Edwards and Nakusa. My office is in Nakusa. I live in Port Edwards, spend time in Wisconsin Rapids. The process that you go through is that when they have trails, they have a snowmobile that usually drags a sled that has two trails or two skis built on. Then it cuts a path, and you put your skis in that path, and that's the path you follow as you're going cross-country skiing through the trails and such. The first time you go through it, even then, it's a little more difficult. But as time happens, the pressure from the skis and the weight of the skier liquefies and causes the bottoms of the trails to freeze. And if you have good skis with enough wax, it glides along very well after you're about the 10th or 15th person using the trail. And that, in a large sense, is how the practice of law is, as well as any of the other skills you have associated in jobs or in life in general. So I'm hoping that that analogy helps some people as they understand that, you're first going to have difficulty. And it's a question of who's going to be starting to assess or establish the trail. I personally feel it's necessary as a mentor to be the snowmobile with the trailer behind me and make the path so that my associates have much clearer directives and abilities to do the things that they need to do. I never had that guidance, did not feel that I was ever properly mentored or assisted in developing and becoming a lawyer. I ended up having to ask other people I knew for advice quite often. And as a result, I had to learn a lot of it myself through trial and error. I said that when I was establishing my own office, about it was May of 2011 we opened. So we've just had our 15th anniversary. And we will discuss how and what is going on as far as my office and how that's set up. It has grown substantially through the years, and I think part of that is being the person establishing the trail and trying to make it easier for those coming behind me. And so that's ultimately a goal. I don't think that's always in corporate America the hope or belief that most people have. As I indicated, if anybody has any suggestions or has any questions they'd like me to address, if they have a show that they like, or they have a problem where they've seen something in a TV show that they're questioning whether that would indeed be the case, feel free to contact me. I'll be glad to talk to you about it, or put it on as a potential subject on the show. I'm hoping that over this time we will have guests that we can bring on and do some interviewing with, which we will be setting up. This concept is just in the process. It's the very early stages. There's going to be everything from an introductory theme incorporated herein, and a list of the shows that we're going to be doing coming up. We're going to be available on social media for posting as well. I'm hoping that you will enjoy the show. I'm hoping it gives me an opportunity to kind of share the things that I know and have learned over my years, and that you will enjoy it. And I hope that everybody can find something that they can do. My statement is if I take a legal seminar or any kind of seminar, if I can gain one nugget of something that's going to improve or better my life, it's worth it. If I can find two, it is a divine intervention. Let's put it that way. And I'm hoping that you will be able to find those little nuggets in our brief little time together each week. There will be at times problems where I have my responsibilities as a lawyer coming up. If that happens, instead of this being a live broadcast, it may be a recorded broadcast. Otherwise, we're not quite at 30 minutes, but I'm going to sign off here and let you go. This has been Sidebar by Dana Duncan, and a show that's going to hopefully let you in on some of the conversations that take place among lawyers, and understanding more of the concepts that we have as lawyers and how we see the world around us. So take care. God bless. I'm out.